guys, hope you're doing well today. Thanks for checking out today's video. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Hannah. I am 21 years old and I have just graduated university. I did a history degree and I graduated with a 2-1, which I'm super proud of. And I just had my graduation the other day, so I feel like this is the perfect time to be filming this video. My channel includes beauty and lifestyle stuff. I do have a range of stuff going on my channel, and I do also have a music channel, which I will link in the down bar below. Today is my second part of my university series, and I'm going to be sharing my tips to stay organised at university, and a lot of these tips I feel also work outside of university also. So I've got about 10 tips to share with you. So not only are they tips that I've learned, there's also tips from my teachers, my family, my friends, and I've included the ones that I feel work best for me. I will freely admit some of these tips I am better at sticking to at some points and at other times not as good, but I believe in life we are always learning, so I do find these tips, when I do stick to them, they have really helped. So my first tip is to keep books/journals, whatever you want to call them. Some people like to keep everything in one book and that works for them, but for me I quite like having separate books. I've got 3 here. So my first book is just a general yearly diary, just like a standard diary. So I like that one to keep track of my weekly events and, you know, events further on in time. I also have this really lovely book from the range that keeps track of my YouTube, my blog and my music, and as you can see I just have some sections here for that, and I've just found this has been really helpful for just keeping my schedule, video ideas, musical ideas, stuff like that. So I like to keep it in this really lovely book. In fact, I love this book so much that I went to the range to get another one. I found that they didn't have it, so I got a different style of this one, and then I still wanted it, so I went back and I found this one, so now I have a backup one, and again that's from the range. And then my third book says make each day count, and it's basically just like a daily organizer. So you've got the date, today's goals and notes, and if I've got tasks to do that day, I just like to use this to keep track. My second tip ties into this as well, which is to set clear goals, and I find by writing it down in my books it is just really clear, it's set out, I can see what's going on. I found it much better to set broader goals, so that's my clear goals, and then narrow it down daily. I put my goal here in today's goals, and then little things coming off it, what I want to, what steps I want to take towards that goal that day. Before, when I did try and micromanage, I set myself up this really elaborate schedule, between this time and this time I'll have breakfast, and this time I'll do a workout, and then this time will be my study time, and then this will be my music time. And in reality, life is not predictable. Things are sometimes unpredictable, and you know, you can't always stick to a strict schedule of what is going on. You know, I like to have some flexibility, and that's why I find having those broader goals and then setting it down, so by the end of the day I feel like I've achieved something towards that goal, I find that is working better for me. So it is important to make sure you take breaks. Your health 100% comes first. You need to allow time for yourself. If you're working non-stop, you're going to eventually hit a wall because you're so tired and very likely stressed. Giving yourself that break allows you to step away from the idea and come back revitalised. I did talk about this in my writer's block video on my music channel. The same principle. If I keep working on a song and I just hit a wall, it helps to take a step back from it, give myself, you know, some time off, and then over that time I probably just start thinking of ideas anyway, so then when I come back to it I feel a lot better. I can't tell you exactly the time frame of the break, that's going to depend on you as a person. You're going to have to judge that for yourself. Sometimes you only need a morning or afternoon off, sometimes you need a day off, or sometimes you need a few days off. Sorry, I keep worrying it's going to be out of focus because the first time I filmed this, it was out of focus, so I'm hoping that's not going to happen today. We were encouraged at university to make sure over the holiday time we did give ourselves sufficient amount of break. For instance, as an idea, you could spend the first week of your break working on working on the tasks you need to do, getting on with outstanding tasks, starting on those essays, and then the second week having a break. or you could have a few days work, a few days off, a few days, it's going to depend on what works for you. I think also if you're ensuring you're getting enough downtime, you're less likely to procrastinate, because if you've got that dedicated work time and a sufficient amount of break, you're going to use that dedicated work time to crack on with your work. For instance, you could do short bursts of work, like 15-20 minutes work, and then a break, like, I don't know, 10 to 20 minute breaks or whatever, just so you are finding a good balance. Get enough sleep. This is so important, and this is going to enable you to get up and make the most of the day. I do find when I get enough sleep, I make sure I get to bed early enough that the next day, by getting up earlier, by midday I feel really productive because I have made more use out of the day. And this ties into the next tip, which is to make sure you go to sleep early enough. This is one that I'm not so good at the moment. I've been going to sleep quite late, but I did find when I was getting sleep early enough and getting enough sleep, it just really, really helps, and you can definitely see the improvement. It is important to turn your phone off a decent amount of time before you go to sleep. Again, this ties in with the late night, staying up late. Again, not the greatest at right now, but I do find when I do put it down in favour of a book or an audio book, it really helps, and I do feel a lot better the next day. I sleep better. Start early. Do little and often, because it really helps to lessen the stress. When I have left it to the last minute, I feel very stressed, very anxious. As it would be close to the deadline, it would just be this mad panic, lack of sleep, anxiety, rushed answers. It is just not worth it. And start early is one of those ones you hear all the time. You kind of go, oh yes, it's ages away, but really it does come along so fast. I found this with my dissertation. I remember in the module handbook it said about starting early. Sorry, sirens. Wait a second. I do remember it saying, start early. And at the time, it feels so far away. Like, I've got ages. This isn't to stress anyone out, because yes, you do have ages, but it does come along really fast. So you do need to ensure that you're using that time effectively, because you'll just feel so much better. Your answers will be better, and you'll just feel way better. Just lessens the stress, which is just great. So, for example, what I tended to do with my essays, it was all essays aside from the first year, which was like essays and some exams, but the majority was essays. So what I tended to do was I'd pick my question, and then I would do some light reading and some proper planning over some days, weeks, whatever it would be at the time. So then I would pick, for my planning, I would pick the paragraphs that I felt the strongest on, that I felt I knew the most about, and then I would just start writing what I knew, what I wanted to include, like a rough sort of, rough essay into the Word document. And then once I'd done that, I would look at my other points and I think, is there anything I could just pop down for now? Even if it's not a lot, even if it's just a sentence or two. So I've got something in front of me, like I'm being productive. Sometimes I tackle some points and paragraphs in, a day or a few days, and then the other points on other days. Then once I had this core structure of stuff that I knew I wanted to say, or I had a vague idea of the points I would be wanting to make, at least for some paragraphs, I would then come back to it in the days and the weeks and tweak it, read around what I had. So when I was looking through books, I kind of knew what I was looking for, sort of. I just needed to add extra historiography, extra information, add more depth to it. For me, I did a lot of research while I was writing to find particular supporting work that I didn't know I wanted to say during the planning stage, because once you're reading around the core points you want to make, you find other points you want to say on extra historiography, stuff like that. Then my final stage, which would be again on different days, normally over a few days, would be checking all my referencing, editing, word count, all of that sort of stuff. So that was my general way that I did my essays. This is an important tip: share library books. There's only so many library books that are going to go around. You can normally guarantee there's a few people that are going to want to use the same books with you, because if you're doing the same courses, there, you know, a handful of people are going to want to do the same question as you or the same topic as you, so you need to be prepared for that. Organise a group meeting and share all the books whilst you're there. That way you are guaranteed to have access to those books at that point. And there also is the bonus of discussing ideas with each other, and checking that you're kind of going along the right lines, sharing advice that you've gotten from teachers and other people. My last point is that it is really helpful to go and talk to your teachers. Don't worry that it's going to be scary and, you know, you're not going to know what you're talking about and you're going to look stupid, because it's not going to happen. They're there to support you and they're going to help you figure out where to go next. Taking your ideas for your work and show them what you've already been thinking about. They can make sure you're going in the right direction, you know, offer some advice and some suggestions, and that way you're going to achieve your best piece of work. I'm an anxious person, so I worried that I'd start babbling, so what I like to do was write up a list of questions, all the questions, you know, I had, you know, sometimes there was a lot of questions, sometimes, you know, there wasn't as many. Normally there was a lot of questions, and I would just read off my questions to ensure that I'd covered everything. I apologise, my mic keeps falling off. You know, and if you do forget a question, don't panic. They're more than happy for you to email them with your questions. And don't ever worry that your questions are stupid. My teachers always told me that no question is a stupid question, and they are completely right, so please don't ever worry about that. It's just much better to ask all your questions and just save yourself the stress. I'm sorry if there's a lot of jumping around, my card kept filling up and my mic dropped on the floor multiple times, but we got there, we got to the end of the video, so hurrah. Oh, yeah, my new favourite word at the moment is huzzah. I don't know why, I just like it. Random fact of the day with Hannah. Anyway, yeah, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. I'll have the link to my music channel in the down bar. I'll have the link to my part 1 of this uni series thing, which I may eventually do more videos on in the future if it's wanted. My first part was on how to make your uni room more cozy, so if you're interested in that, it will be in the down bar. And I also have links to my socials in the down bar, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and my music stuff. So check that out if you're interested, and I will see you next Tuesday with another video. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. Bye guys.